What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In today's video, we are jumping into the full video of Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong. We get to see the epic showdown after the Legion of Doom accidentally brings Kong, Godzilla, Titans, and Scrollcrawlers all over their world. The Justice League jump into action, and with our heroes trying to save everybody, we see the confrontation between Superman and Godzilla. The only question that now remains: who will fall and who will reign supreme? So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue number 1, we are picking up atop the Daily Planet. Right now, Clark and Lois, they're having a little sit-down dinner. The sun is setting, it is all perfect and beautiful. And as Clark goes on to describe his love for Lois, his love for who she is, what she represents, and how she makes him feel. As we see Clark get down on a knee, he is about to ask that question, but then there is a rumbling. The ocean becoming severely unsettled, and the spikes rise up. In a matter of seconds, we have the arrival of Godzilla. This is what takes us to 12 hours ago. We pick up with Hal Jordan and Barry Allen. And right now, what they are doing is observing Superman. Hal cannot help but recognize how impressive this is. It is like he is literally trying to save the whole world at once. And it makes you wonder, why doesn't he do this all the time? With Barry going on to say, because it's not sustainable. And he should know, he is the fastest man alive. A man that can be in two places at once. The truth is, you can never do it all. There is never enough time. But the point of all of it is to try, to do what you can when you can. Superman is working right now with such great effort because he doesn't want any interruptions for this evening. With his plans to marry Lois, he has to ask the question. He wanted nothing to interfere, and so he is working overtime. This is when they get readings that he is headed back to Metropolis. He is headed there because Titano is there. He is wrecking the city. The giant ape with Kryptonian lasers for eyes. Both the Flash and Green Lantern, they think it's time to go give Clark some help. But by the time the Flash gets there, Superman has already defeated him and tied him up. The Flash joining Superman on the way to Rikers Island. They talk about what is yet to come. The big day, the big question. As they arrive, they are meted by Wonder Woman. What we are seeing is the Justice League kind of coming and paying respects, giving him congratulations, saying how happy everybody is for him. And so while things are going absolutely fantastic for Superman, the Legion of Doom, they're having their own problems. Because Titano was a weapon that they had used, sending him in, hoping that he might be able to take down Supes. Obviously, that didn't work. And now they are ready to go to war with the Justice League, to eliminate them once and for all. This is the regular lineup of villains. Cheetah, Grodd, Captain Cold, handful of other individuals. But while they have this discussion, we have the arrival of course, Lex Luthor. He has come to say that he knows how to take down Superman and the Justice League. That Titano was nothing more than a distraction. As they all hop into the helicopter, they take off to the north. They head to Superman's Fortress of Solitude, with Black Manta taking down Kal-X. They come to the doorway and they use all of their might to open this thing up. Once they get inside, that's when they see all of the toys. And while everybody would want to grab something, Lex Luthor lets everybody know that the only things that they are here for is the Mother Box and the Sled of Orion. But while Lex Luthor is saying this is when Toyman, he goes ahead and grabs a red ruby. Though he doesn't know what it does, every single item in the fortress is on an alarm, and he just triggered it. And while Superman is sitting down with Batman, Clark and Bruce having a conversation, and while they talk about the marriage that is soon to be, Bruce has also come in concern. Having someone so close, in such close proximity, he worries that she might be used as leverage. But with Superman saying nothing is going to change, that's good enough for Batman. But when the alarm goes off, Clark goes to head out, only to find out that Kara and the Justice League, they're already showing up, letting Superman know that he's got tonight off. Wishing him good luck, they go in to face the Legion. In a matter of seconds, this fight is kicking off. Lex Luthor trying to insert the mother box onto the sled, but the Flash comes in and he's able to grab Orion's sled. While everybody is fighting, Toyman throws one of his explosive toys. With the explosion, we have the mother box that is activated. And while all of the Justice League are protected, the Legion of Doom, they have disappeared. The mother box took them. And with the Legion arriving in some jungle, all of them arguing over whose fault this was, of what went wrong. They see that there is a military or research outpost not far from here. And so while they go to make their move, this is when one of the monsters attacks. Before the Legion of Doom can do anything, we have the arrival of Kong. With the Legion of Doom rushing inside, we see that Grodd is in awe. Right before his eyes is an ape god. And once the Legion gets inside, what they see is that this is some kind of command center. As they look at the maps, they can tell that this is Earth, except for the landmass of Skull Island, answering the question of where they are. But now they wonder, which Earth are we on? And Grodd outside trying to communicate with Kong. As they look at the monitor, they see all the other monsters that are currently being observed. And Toyman cannot help but notice all of these new toys. This is when everyone in the Legion starts to make fun of him. Even Lex Luthor going on to say that allowing you into the Legion was his greatest mistake. Holding on to that red ruby that he found in the Fortress of Solitude. He curses them. He wishes that he could show them. He wishes he could take all of these toys back to play with the Justice League. While holding that ruby, while making this wish, the Monsterverse monsters are being teleported right to Superman's universe. And that's what picks us up where this comic had started off, with the rumbling. With Clark doing what he always does. And with this comic coming to a close, what we see is Big Blue headed directly for Godzilla. Alright gang, we are picking up exactly where we had left off. Godzilla confronted by Superman. And Superman is trying to talk with Godzilla. Not even sure if this thing can understand him, not even sure if Godzilla can be reasoned with at all. But he wants to make the effort. He tries to let Godzilla know that your presence is a danger to the people of Metropolis. He wants to take this fight somewhere else, or whatever this might be. He wants to get away from the city, but the way that Godzilla begins to stare at him, as we see that blue power charging up, Superman knows what he must do. This is where he goes in and he uppercuts Godzilla. With Godzilla taking this hit on the chin, Superman goes to grab his tail and drag him out of the city. But in doing so, this is where Godzilla's tail, it whacks Superman and it sends him flying through buildings. As Superman gets to his feet, gets his bearing, having the arrival of the Flash, evacuating as many people as possible. We have Supergirl, Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and Green Arrow. They are all hightailing it to Metropolis. They don't know what they're about to face, but what they do know is that Superman said it is a big problem. This is when Cyborg gives them all an update. Godzilla is not the only monster that has made its arrival. A giant arachnid going to Central City, a giant winged bat-like monster going to Gotham, and a giant mammoth-like creature headed to Themyscira. We have 4 monsters of the Monsterverse, each of them arriving at the same time that Godzilla did, each of them now attacking their own individual cities. And so Superman gives the order to divide and conquer. Batman in his Batwing, he is taking off, calling in the Bat family. Hawkgirl is headed directly to Superman. The Flash, Green Lantern, and Supergirl, they are going to Central City. Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, and Wonder Girl, they will deal with Themyscira. And of course, Batman and the Bat family have Gotham covered. But Cyborg heads off to Gotham to give some assistance. While all of this is transpiring, we have Wonder Woman and Green Arrow that are flying over the ocean. As they do so and they get to their location, what they find is that there is an island in the middle of the ocean that should not be here. Quickly deducing that maybe this has something to do with all of those giant monsters. Wonder Woman has to get to Themyscira, and so she leaves Green Arrow behind on this deserted island. For Green Arrow, this is obviously not that big of a deal. This is not the first deserted island that he has found himself on, but he's about to investigate. He's going to figure out what the heck is happening, what is this island all about, and is it connected to the monsters? Wonder Woman not sure when she will be able to return. We see her take off. This is where we pick up with Lex Luthor. Not even sure how he arrived here. He knows that it has something to do with Toyman, but he's gonna have to put that to the side just for a moment, because outside his window, there is a full-scale evacuation of the city with a giant monster that is fighting Superman. And so Lex Luthor heads down to the bunker to get a full download on everything that is transpiring. As we jump back into the streets of Metropolis, Superman is doing everything he can to lure Godzilla away from the city, trying to get his attention, trying to get him to follow him, but he's simply not listening. This is when Hawkgirl comes in and she tries to hit Godzilla, but even hitting him as hard as she can, he barely flinches. As we pick up in Gotham, the giant creature flying around, terrorizing everybody and everything. As the Batwing begins to open fire, we see the creature begin to take the shots, but it does almost no damage. And when the monster attacks, we see that it has Sonic-like powers, as the Bat family does everything they can to lure this monster away. Down on the ground, the Bat family is doing everything they can to save the innocent and get them out of the city. This is where Jason Todd decides he's gonna take a shot at this monster. Having such tough skin, he thinks maybe I can shoot it in the eye and take this thing down. And everybody tells Jason not to do this. Batman, Dick Grayson, Babs, the whole 9 yards. Even Cyborg is letting him know that we don't know what that'll do. Wait to fire until we have some kind of scan and know its weakness. But Jason does not hesitate. He pulls that trigger and he takes the monster's eye right out. Unfortunately, it doesn't take the beast down. Using its sonic voice, it attacks Jason Todd, being blown off of the ledge that he is on. Had it been not for the arrival of Black Canary, all of this rubble would have decimated everybody below. But with her scream, she is able to disintegrate every single bit of that concrete, turning it to nothing but dust. This is when Babs comes up and she punches Jason Todd in the face. She knocks him clean out. Really, it's just everybody upset at Jason for not doing what Batman told him to do. But with the arrival of Cyborg, they begin to create a sonic amplifier. They are going to use this for Canary. They are hoping to take the sonic blast and reverse it back to the monster, hoping that his power is also his weakness. And so with Batman being the diversion, letting the monster take him out of the sky, as Batman free falls through the air, his parachute opening up, this is where we have the arrival of Canary and Cyborg, using the other Batwing and one of the engines after it has been modified. As it amplifies Black Canary's powers, she screeches at the monster, and we see this creature fall from the sky. The monster of Gotham has been defeated. Meanwhile, we pick back up with Superman, Godzilla, and Hawkgirl. With them continuing to fight on, we see Hawkgirl knocked from the sky. But luckily, Shazam comes just in the nick of time, grabs hold of her, and sets her down. With Shazam and Superman now teaming up together, they go to face Godzilla, and this is when Godzilla opens up his mouth and he sends out a blast. Superman, using his heat vision, he sends it right back. These two forces now clashing together. Shazam thinking that I've got to do something. I have to find a way to help out Superman in this situation. And so he goes on top of the head of Godzilla and he yells, "Shazam!" With that lightning bolt coming down, landing right on the head of Godzilla, he begins to fumble. He begins to walk back. But it was not enough to put him down. With young Billy falling from the sky, Superman grabbing hold of him. Billy is saying that that was awesome, but Superman says that it was too risky not to do it again. Now turn back before something bad happens. Before that can even happen, before he can say the word Shazam, Godzilla is sending another blast. Superman covering Billy up. He takes the full brunt of Godzilla's energy, and we see Superman begin to fall from the sky. Superman landing on the street. Billy by his side, it would appear that Godzilla has defeated Superman. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we pick up with the Flash at Iron Heights prison. Arriving on site, there is one of the Titans that is decimating the prison. As the Flash makes an effort to get inside, all of the villains try to take a swing at him, because for them, this is their opportunity to get out. An opportunity to make a run for it. But what they did not anticipate was Supergirl. Supergirl showing up on site with Hal Jordan Green Lantern. The cavalry has arrived, quickly taking care of all of the villains, rendering them incapacitated. They put their full effort into the Titan, or they're about to. But that's when Supergirl senses that she cannot hear his heartbeat any longer. She cannot hear the heartbeat of Kal-El. In a split second, Supergirl takes off. And that's what picks us up with Godzilla. Superman down on the ground. His heart is no longer beating. Billy by his side, waiting, hoping for somebody to come along and help out. Trying to wake up Superman. And just in time, we have the arrival of Atom Smasher. Atom Smasher coming in, grabbing Godzilla, and throwing him down to the ground. While he keeps Godzilla occupied, Hawkgirl and Billy Batson try to get Superman's body off of the street. But in the process of doing so, we see that Godzilla gets a heavy bite on Atom Smasher. As Billy watches Atom Smasher fall down to the ground, he assumes that he is dead, and he lets Hawkgirl know that he is going to be the distraction to get Superman out of here. He is the reason that Superman is down, and now he is going to fix it. With Billy charging at Godzilla, he yells Shazam! We see the Captain come out, and he charges full force directly at Godzilla. In that same moment, he has some backup. Supergirl makes her arrival, and the two of them together give Godzilla one heck of an upper punch. With Godzilla crumbling down to the ground, they take this as an opportunity to get Superman out of here, telling Hawkgirl to take him to the fortress and wait for her. And so, as the Captain lures away Godzilla, the Flash and Green Lantern are calling for assistance. Not only are they fighting against the Titan, but they are also fighting against prisoners. And unfortunately, the situation only gets worse for them, having the arrival of Captain Cold. He has come to get his sister. Catching the Flash off guard, Captain Cold hits him with the cold gun, the Flash freezing in place. And on Themyscira, the Titan there is causing all kinds of mayhem. Wonder Girl and Wonder Woman showing up on scene. They grab their lassos and they wrangle up this beast. Talking to the Titan, they let it know that we are not here to hurt you. They can feel the agitation inside of it. But after some time, the Titan simply walks away, and Wonder Woman knows that something is calling it. As we pick up with the Flash, Green Lantern having his own troubles against the Titan. The Flash is frozen in place, but he is quickly able to vibrate himself free. Unfortunately, Captain Cold and the others, they are beginning to make their getaway. And unfortunately, he cannot focus on them because Hal Jordan is struggling himself. The Flash whirling his arms together. As he makes his attack, we have Supergirl showing up using her heat vision, and then together, they're able to take down the beast. Or at the very least, we see the creature, it disappears into the water. And then we pick up on Skull Island. We have Kong that is taking on Titans. And in the fighting, we have Green Arrow. He has been watching, he has been observing, but he has been unable to communicate with anybody outside the island. With Kong taking down a monster, Supergirl has arrived. She comes face to face with Kong. She tells Kong that she means him no harm, but he must stay back. And Kong, being curious, not really understanding what she is or how she's flying or anything of that nature, he reaches out. But when he goes to reach out, Supergirl reacts. She punches Kong right in the face. Kong, in his anger, beginning to thump his chest. The situation looks like it's about to get bad, and then we hop over to Gotham City. Batman's Titan currently sedated. While they discuss everything that is ongoing, we have the arrival of the Captain. He has come with the news that Superman is dead. With Batman proclaiming no. He tells him not to say that Superman is not dead. Nobody says a word to Lois until he has seen Clark himself. And in the middle of the desert, we have Lex Luthor, who is following a beeping. This beeping leading him to a discovery. A giant spherical object sitting here buried in the sand. A beacon that calls. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we pick up with Green Lantern taking Atom Smasher out of the battlefield. In a very serious critical condition, Shazam watches as Godzilla swims away. And of course Batman. Batman making a vow that he will find a way to fix all of this. Probably the most shaken up right now. Batman is currently with Superman. They have been using his solar array to try and bring him back. But so far, he hasn't been able to regenerate. They can't find a pulse. They can't find any signs of life. But of course, Batman would not give up. Everyone else seems to be coming to terms with the fact that Superman is dead. Everybody but Bruce. Now, as Batman goes to look around the fortress, he notices that the Dreamstone is missing. They may have come for Orion's sled. They may have come for the Mother Box. But someone also took the Dreamstone. It is his belief that if they can find the Dreamstone, they can send the monsters back home. As they get in contact with Cyborg, currently at the last known transmission point of the beacon, the one that draws the monsters in. They let him know that Godzilla is on a trajectory directly for them, believing that if it's coming to the fortress, maybe it is still coming for Clark. Now, as we hop over to Skull Island, we have Supergirl and Kong. They're having a staring contest, neither of them backing down. And we have Oliver Queen asking how long this is going to continue on. For Supergirl, she'll do it as long as it takes. Floating here, having this staring contest, she's come to the assumption that Kong isn't necessarily a threat, that he is clearly territorial, but he's not like the ones that attack Metropolis. And when she says Cal's name, we see the emotion on his face change, almost like he understands. Though Ollie would say it is very much a stretch that he actually understands. Supergirl saying that the ape is not a threat, but she wants Ollie to keep an eye on him, telling him to stay out of the way and just keep eyes on. She heads off to Clark Kent, and as soon as Supergirl leaves, Kong begins to beat his chest and roar. Oliver believes that this is about him, that maybe they're just not getting along, maybe Kong's got a problem with him. But as he looks over his shoulder, this is where he sees the silhouette of men. Going to check it out, it is the League of Assassins. They have been sitting here waiting. The moment Supergirl left, they took their opportunity. And so one by one, they charge Green Arrow. And Green Arrow knocks some skulls. Unfortunately, there are far too many of them. Green Arrow is severely outnumbered, but he has a kaiju-sized companion. This is where Kong jumps into the fight. The assassins go flying. But in all of the chaos, we have Oliver Queen who falls from the cliff, falling down onto a barge below. Green Arrow's fate remains a mystery. But we pick up with Lois, Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl, and Green Lantern. They have been observing everything that is currently ongoing. They have been trying to understand the radiation left behind on Superman. Lois going into the room where Superman is being kept. Tears coming down her face looking at her beloved. She lets him know that she found the ring that was in his pocket. A ring that she says is beautiful. And her answer is yes. But she wants him to put it on her finger, which means he has to get better. With Hal Jordan interrupting this little moment, he has an emergency call. Aquaman is calling for backup. This is what takes us to the Legion of Doom. Everybody is sitting here waiting for Lex Luthor's arrival, and they argue and bicker amongst themselves about who may be in charge, some saying a collective, but everybody knows that Lex is the leader. They are also waiting for Deathstroke and Cheetah. The two of them were sent out on a mission. They were sent out to find Toyman, and so while they hunt after him, we pick up with Lex Luthor, having the eye of Mechagodzilla. We learn that Lex Luthor already had a project in play, what he called Project Atlas. They spent years developing this already. They were creating a mechanized type, one capable of defeating even the biggest of monsters. But Lex Luthor also knows that this is going to elevate all of his technology greatly. that his weapon systems will be far beyond anything Lex has created so far. He knows that Godzilla is an unstoppable force, one that is only concerned with maintaining natural order. Nothing suggests that he can be manipulated into destroying the Justice League, and while it is rumored that Superman has been taken down, Lex Luthor doesn't necessarily believe this just yet. Even so, the Legion cannot wait for the Titans to do what they need done, and so Lex Luthor plans to build something that will do the job, taking us underwater to the home of Aquaman. Members of the Justice League have arrived on scene to see a giant kaiju, the swimming titan, here to decimate all of Atlantis. Aquaman has done his best to try and communicate with the monster, but it only replies with rage. As our heroes battle against the creature, it emits all kinds of purple ink, clouding up the waters, making visibility almost zero. With Hal Jordan using his power ring, he puts up a shield that holds it at bay, and members of the League have come to the conclusion that there must be a beacon nearby, one that is drawing the monster here. And so if they're not going to be able to defeat this monster, they must find the beacon. They must lure the monster away from the city. This is when things get turned up to 10, because we have the arrival of Godzilla. Using his atomic breath, he hits the Titan, and Godzilla and this kaiju begin to battle it out. While they do their best to keep this fight from really breaching over into the city, letting them sort it out, let them fight it out, but try to keep them away from the dome. This is where Mira tells him to activate the failsafe, that you and your friends are simply not enough to keep them at bay, that they cannot turn the tides in this fight. That's when Aquaman swims down to the depths. He takes the giant lock and he opens it up. This is where we see Aquaman release the Kraken. The Kraken now free, it immediately attacks the Titan. As this three-way fight is about to get underway, we are taken back to Skull Island. The League of Assassins, they have been smashed, and Green Arrow has made his way onto that barge. Not sure where its destination may be, but going under the covered area, this is where he finds a skull of a Titan. And alright gang, so as we pick up with this issue, we are starting off at the Watchtower. Lois Lane is having a conversation with Mercy, the assistant to Lex Luthor, letting them know that they are looking for the Dreamstone, that it is missing along with Toyman. But Lois is really trying to get more information out of her, trying to figure out what is going on here. They just want to level the playing field. After hearing that Superman is not dead, but he is in really bad shape, this is where Mercy gives a little more information. That Godzilla, that is the name of the creature, and it is not some mindless monster. Godzilla is king of the monsters, an ancient being whose entire purpose is to maintain the balance of nature. That there is an organization called Monarch. On the Earth that they came from, they have been studying these titans for decades, and Mercy has the files on them. She will send what she has, but this is the best she can do. With Supergirl showing up, overhearing this conversation, Kara comes to the conclusion that there must not be any metahumans on the world that they come from. Coming to this world, it upset the balance of nature in Godzilla's eyes. It went after Superman to preserve the natural order. The order of a world it is not meant to be in. With Lois asking how Superman is doing and asking to be honest, she knows that he is dying, that he's not dead, but if they don't figure out something soon, he will die. This is what takes us to the depths. Godzilla versus the Titan. And to add another beast into this mix, we have the Kraken. Aquaman's hope is that the Protector Kraken should draw the monsters away from the kingdom and give them time to reinforce the dome before it cracks and kills everybody. Because a collapse at this depth, it would crush everybody by the water pressure alone, as everybody heads off to do their respective missions. We see Godzilla and the Titan going toe-to-toe. As the two of them battle, Godzilla is able to launch him, the Titan flying backwards, and our Green Lantern having to catch it. To stop it, before it runs into the dome. But as this happens, the Kraken grabs hold of Godzilla. It pushes it into the Titan, which pushes all three of them into the dome. This is when the Flash shows up with the beacon. Moving as fast as he can underwater, he grabs the beacon and tries to lure the Titan away. The Titan chasing after the Flash. Godzilla and the Kraken, they fall to the depths. Wonder Woman and Aquaman following behind. Taking this opportunity, Godzilla lets out a blast, and this blast, it damages the dome greatly. While they struggle to maintain this, Green Arrow finds himself in the South Pacific Ocean, the League of Assassins, stealing giant monster skulls. He doesn't know what they're gonna do with it, but he can assume that it's nothing good. Eventually, his cover is blown. He jumps out from hiding and he unleashes his arrows. But he knows out here in the open against these numbers, he is not gonna win this fight. And so shooting an explosive arrow down, it explodes and it shoots him off of the boat, gives him the opportunity to get away. Up in the air, we pick up with Cyborg. The data that Lois acquired has been invaluable. They have a brief summary of all the Titans, their strengths and weaknesses. But right now, they're trying to get a hold of Shazam. He is MIA. Nobody has heard from Green Arrow on Skull Island with this ape called Kong. And Kong is really as close to a good guy as they're gonna get in this fight. But Batman is down here and he is building something to do with a cosmic treadmill, having the help of Wally West and others. They are constructing it very quickly. As we pick up on Skull Island, Supergirl has arrived. She arrives to find Kong, and at his feet is Grodd and the other gorillas. They bow down to Kong. They chant his name, but Supergirl here letting him know that he is not your god, that he will not be swayed by your primitive submission. Grodd telling her that you underestimate my might. She doesn't think his little mind tricks are gonna work. Grodd disagrees. With a kryptonite horn on his head, this appears to allow him to break through her psychic blocks, allows him to control Supergirl, and in doing so, makes Supergirl punch Kong, knocking Kong straight to the ground. This is where we pick up with Shazam, the captain feeling horrible about what happened to Superman, blaming himself, saying that if he had not done what he had done, Superman would not be in this position. And so he is about to make those who started all of this pay. This is where he shows up at the Legion of Doom, and as everybody charges at him, he lays down a beating. Unfortunately, he did not anticipate Giganta, her fist coming in and knocking Shazam clean out. Blockbuster as well. Back in the depths with Atlantis, Hal Jordan is doing everything he can to hold his light constructs in place so that this dome doesn't just flood completely. But the pressure of the water, it has become too much for him to hold. Luckily, Jon Stewart, Jessica Cruz, Guy Gardner, and Simon have all shown up on scene. They take over the defense of the dome. Down in the abyss, the Kraken and Godzilla are still fighting one another, but Aquaman has taken the opportunity to grab the shackles that are there for the Kraken and place them on Godzilla. This being Nith Metal, it should hold even Godzilla. And with their biggest threat as they see it off the table, they can go handle the other Titans. This is where we are shown Lex Luthor. Mercy chiming in, letting him know that she counts 4 Titans headed directly for him. The Mecha Godzilla that he has built has a beacon in it, built into the systems, and Lex wants them to come. He wants to show these Titans who the Alpha is. Picking up with Ra's al Ghul, he is atop a mountain, and they have something inside of a bag. Some kind of giant creature, and it appears that they are about to drop it into a Lazarus volcano. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we pick up at the Justice League Watchtower, with a good majority of the Justice League here discussing what they're going to be doing next, what their strategy is going to be. Superman is down, Supergirl is missing, Shazam likely hostage, and they are no closer to finding Toyman or the Dreamstone. On the upside, Atlantis has their shields reinforced and repaired. Godzilla is still trapped down in the depths. And so to the Justice League, at least one of the monsters is taken off the board. But they are tracking the Titans and they are moving directly to Metropolis. And Green Arrow does add in that Kong hasn't been seen. His whereabouts are unknown. The League of Assassins is also missing, as Batman gives orders and tells everybody where they need to be. We see Lois sitting by Superman, but in the blink of an eye, Superman's gone. He had been sitting in this pod healing up. They believe that he might not even come back. Superman disappearing, not saying a single word to Lois. Nobody knows where he went. This is what picks us up with Lex Luthor, currently commanding the Mechagodzilla. And what he plans to do is kind of put the Titans into submission, to let them know that he is the apex, and then try to turn them on the Justice League. Because all of this is his ploy to rid the world of the Justice League, doing so by using the Titans, and then he has control of the Titans in a sense. And as the Titans arrive, this is where we also see the arrival of Mecha Batman. He created his own giant robot, doing so with the assistance of the Flash and some of the others. They were able to build it in no time at all. This is when the fight breaks out. The League behind Mecha Batman, they charge in. The Titans running into the city, Mechagodzilla by their side, and they clash with Batman. With Batman, Wonder Woman, and all the others doing everything they can to hold him off. We see some of Earth's Green Lanterns. They get together and they create their own Mecha Green Lantern. Now that the odds are a little more in their favor, we see them start kicking some butt, start laying down some hate. And while it looks like they might have the upper hand, they might have this in the bag. Out of left field, that is where we have Supergirl coming in and hitting Donna Troy. Followed behind them is Grodd, controlling Supergirl, controlling Kong. Kong jumps into this fight and he goes directly for our Green Lanterns. While Wonder Woman does her best to hold off Supergirl, the Lanterns try to hold their own against Kong, but Kong takes one of the Green Lantern arms and rips it off. Inside that arm, we have Green Lantern Guy Gardner. He falls down to the ground, the other Lanterns trying to keep Kong away from him. Unfortunately, there are ground elements. Grodd is on the ground. Before the other Lanterns can reach him, Grodd jumps on him. He smashes Guy Gardner's skull right into the concrete. He just killed Guy Gardner. The rest of the Lanterns finding themselves defeated by Kong, now on the ground. Grodd and his forces ready to wipe out the Lanterns, but then Aquaman jumps in, and behind him, the heroes of Earth. As Wally West flashes in and beats the living crap out of Grodd, the assault begins. As that battle wages, we see Mechagodzilla and Mecha Batman going toe-to-toe. As they fight, Kong jumps in and grabs Batman. This is when Beast Boy recognizes that the odds are not in Batman's favor, so he decides to kind of even the odds. As we see Beast Boy transform into a giant gorilla. He walks up to Kong and knocks him right across the face. Unfortunately, there is a Kryptonian on the battlefield. Supergirl coming in behind Gar and knocking him right in the head. This knocks him unconscious, but the Green Lanterns are able to catch him. But with our heroes able to knock that Kryptonian crown off of Grodd's head, he no longer has control over Kong or Supergirl. And this came just in time. The League of Assassins have made their landing. They have unleashed the monsters from Skull Island. They now run rampant in the streets. On top of them, the Titans and Mechagodzilla. Right now, more than ever, our heroes need a miracle. This is where we see Superman. He disappeared and he headed directly for Godzilla. Plunging down into the depths of the ocean, this is where he lets him know that him and Godzilla have some unfinished business. Off 10 minutes ago. because 10 minutes ago we had the return of Superman. Batman and Cyborg had used a boom tube to teleport him to the sun. This gave him the opportunity to recharge to his fullest extent, and then some. But Clark never giving the opportunity to tell Lois or ask Lois, "Will you marry me?" This is where he asks her, and of course, she says yes. Obviously, Superman inevitably going to make it to the battlefield. That is exactly where we pick up. Titans of all kinds, Mecha Godzilla, and Kong fighting off the Skull Crawlers. This is an all-out brawl. Hal Jordan and some of the Lanterns still yet to fully join the fight. Not taking the death of Guy Gardner very well, they're struggling. But we have Jessica that wakes up Beast Boy, because if they're gonna do this fight with Titans, they're gonna need all the Titans on their side that they can get. And so with him changing into a giant gorilla, him and Kong fight side by side. While they battle, we pick up with Mechagodzilla and Batman's Titan. We see that Lex Luthor is getting the upper hand, so much so that Batman's Titan shuts down. The motor function goes down and the robot goes offline. Having the Flash and Cyborg on board, they're able to get this back into operation, but they need time, something that they are currently out of, because Mechagodzilla is about to blast them to smithereens. Now, 5 minutes ago at the Legion of Doom, we have Superman that is picking up Shazam, releasing Billy from his captivity, setting him free, letting him say those words, and we have the arrival of the Captain. For those that don't know, currently in the Shazam titles, he is going by the name of the Captain. And so with him saved, he comes in, moves as fast as he can, gets to Metropolis, and is able to stop Mechagodzilla before he takes out Batman. At this point, the Green Lanterns are back into the fight. A light construct mecha of their own. They go back to back with Batman as they prepare to face off against the Skull Crawlers. We pick up with Superman right now. He has gone down to the depths to have a conversation with Godzilla. Not sure if he's able to comprehend it, Superman tries again to talk to him. Superman knows what he needs to do, apologizing to him for what he's about to do. When Godzilla goes to attack, Superman dodges it. He counterattacks and puts Godzilla right on his butt. But Superman's not here for a rematch. He releases Godzilla and gets Godzilla mad enough to follow him, get him riled up enough to chase after Superman so that he can lead Godzilla to all the Titans. Back on the battlefield, we have Kong and we have Beast Boy, both of them holding as strong as they can, outnumbered and overwhelmed. Kong holds on to hope, and with that hope, Guy Gardner's ring finds its way to King Kong. That ring forming to his giant finger, he is granted the power, making a light construct of his battle axe. He uses this to strike down his foes. And when it comes to Mechagodzilla, Wonder Woman, Shazam, Wonder Girl, and Supergirl, they use their combined strength and they pull off the arms of Mechagodzilla. Batman coming in to finish the job off. We see him snap the back of Mechagodzilla. But with Batman too focused on this, a scroll crawler comes from behind and chomps him in half. Luckily, this is where we have the arrival of Superman and Godzilla. Being teleported into the fight, Godzilla immediately sees his enemies, stops targeting Superman, and targets them. Now Superman and Godzilla working together to take down all of them, with Kong also helping the Justice League and all of our heroes. Their enemies are finished in a matter of moments. The Justice League rounds up the Legion. The Dreamstone, Superman had already found, because Toyman is dead, crushed by Godzilla's foot. Crushed as soon as he arrived. As soon as Godzilla arrived on this planet, Toyman was crushed and the Dreamstone was stuck in Godzilla's foot. With the Legion of Doom rounded up, Lex Luthor handled. They send Godzilla and Kong back home. They send them right where they belong. But they also mourn the loss of Guy Gardner. As our comic comes to an end, we have a picnic with Clark and Lois. Never getting the opportunity to go on vacation, but they do have time for a picnic in a park that maybe they can go after their wedding, maybe their honeymoon, and the two of them prepare for their journey into love. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Definitely a fun and entertaining issue. I'm honestly hoping that this becomes animated, because while the comic was very enjoyable, there's just so much that you really have to imagine yourself on how these battles unfold. Seeing the animated version of this, I think, would be absolutely phenomenal. That's not to say that it's bad in comic form. It just doesn't tell the full scope of what you could really see if it were animated. Some aspects it does feel a little bit rushed, but when you got that many powerhouses on the battlefield, you can assume that the battle is not gonna be any kind of length. Once Superman and Godzilla get there, that fight's done for. It's over with. Add in the fact that Kong has a freaking Green Lantern ring. There was never a chance in hell that they were going to win against them. But I'm curious for you guys, did this comic answer the question, can Godzilla beat Superman? Can Superman beat Godzilla? In some regards, we see that Godzilla has the capability to take down Superman. But in a one-on-one match, without any distractions, without Superman needing to save anybody, could Godzilla win, or is he simply too slow? We saw here in Underwater in this comic, Superman was easily able to dodge the blast and counter it, knocking Godzilla down underwater. Now, Godzilla was chained up, but would that really have that much of a factor on the outcome of the battle? I think if we're being honest with ourselves, Superman wins. But I don't think that this comic was any definitive answer on if he wins or not. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that has been going on with this series, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It's going to get you completely caught up on everything that has been going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.